We're back to Cougar Pause. I'm your host, Michael Dawes. We're discussing with Cheryl Lippert the opportunities with Medical Laboratory Technician Program. She's the director here at Barton Community College. Cheryl, I noticed that this is a career field. You know, we mentioned the labs or the clinicals and the things that you're able to do to partner. It's really, in the medical community, a very supportive thing by way of scholarships, sponsorships, clinical sites. Is that an indication that MLTs are high in demand in the field?
Well, most of the statistics, the current statistics right now say that the MT vacancy across the United States is about 10.4%, and the MLTs are at 6.4%. For rural communities, the MLTs are a lot of the answers for employment, because that's the people stay in their community. That's part of the reason for a community college. Those folks stay within the community. So in Kansas, especially because of the rural areas that we serve, those techs are highly employable, and I would say it's probably more than 6.4%, just because I know a lot of the labs, that's all they're staffed with. The interesting thing is U.S. News and World Report reports that the healthcare careers, the laboratory personnel are third on the list of employability and the growth over the next 10 to 15 years. So we have students coming in and say, I have a biology degree, but I can't get a job. So they're starting at this MLT level, and then they work for 2 years, they can set for their 4-year degree, which of course ups your money and your responsibility. But even 2 years, we see them, if they get into the lab and they decide they want to do something else, we have a couple of graduates that have branched out into quality assurance in large hospitals, computer programming for between the hospital and the laboratory, their computer systems. They've gone into service for large companies for the instruments that you use within the laboratory. They're doing the service on that, and they get to travel. I know several that they're not necessarily Barton grads, but they have gone on the cruise ships, because the cruise ships has hospitals, and they hire MLTs and MTs to staff them, and they get to travel the world. So there's lots of opportunities. We have one grad that went on, and she is an inspector, a state inspector, not in the state of Kansas, but she moved on up into being an inspector to inspect the laboratories. So there's more opportunities than just playing with the leftover body pieces.
Mm-hmm. And while we would like for our MLTs to stay in our area, especially our 7-county service area, and fill voids and needs there, sounds like this MLT field is wide open nationwide. It's just not our area, it's just not our state.
Right. It's all over the United States. People forget about us, they don't know about us. We're too busy working in the lab to go out and do the advertising, so it's important that the public understands that when they get ill and they go see a physician and they stick a cotton swab down your throat, it's coming to people that we're training. Those are the people that are going to tell the physician what medications to give you, or whether you need medications, or whether you need the flu vaccine, or that's us. And we're hidden away somewhere to do the work. So those people that like science or like don't necessarily like dealing with sick people, but like to do the parts that put things together, being the detective to find out what's wrong. That's what it's about.
So you guys aren't being in the lab and then go out and solve the crimes like on CSI, but part of that is somewhat true.
Well, if you work the emergency room, you get to do a little bit of that, but we slide in and out, because even with patient surveys, they don't remember us. They remember the guy with the x-ray that puts you on a hard table to run you through the instrument and tell you to breathe and not breathe. But they forget about us unless we drew blood from them, and then we went away. And so they forget all of our work is done behind the scenes.
Well, I saw on your website something that said for starting MLT, something about the average salary is $32,000. I might be misspeaking.
That's about right. That's about right.
So that's pretty good salary right out of the gate for
right.
2 years of training.
Right, exactly right. And it's a good wage, and especially in this part of the country, it's a good wage, and you're guaranteed a job. I mean, you pretty much guaranteed a job. You may not always have it right in the area that you want, especially if they don't have a hospital, but there's always a way to make it work, and they're needed all over the United States.
So have you seen an increase in your enrollments because of the need?
We do both, and a lot of it's word of mouth by other students that have graduated from the program. For those that have gone on to a 4-year degree and are managing laboratories, yeah, I got my start at Barton, I'm going to send my employees back there. And whether they're doing it online, and a lot of the hospitals are sponsoring the students. It's not scholarships. They're paying for half or all. There is money available because they know they have to staff those labs, and it's better to grow your own than it is to go out and try and find somebody because they're scarce.
Okay. And if somebody is interested in inquiring about Barton's program, you can actually contact Cheryl directly. I'm going to give you her number here. It's 620-786-1133. Or you can actually just call the college at 620-792-2701 and ask for our Community Education Division, and they'll be sure to provide you whatever information you need as well. Where do you see the future of this?
I don't think there's going to be enough because the population is not of a number for those of us that are retiring. Yes, the older ones are working longer, but we're also working less hours. We're wanting some time off, and where the younger ones coming in, there'll always be a space for them, and they're always watching the ones that are coming in now. They're not going to want to stay 50 years in the lab. They're going to want to branch into inspection. They're going to want to go into microbiology in a manufacturing plant. There's just so many opportunities, but it also, with the electronics and the advantages we have now, we can use a teacher to teach multiple sites. And that makes a big deal because you can use the background and the education and the experience of that one to disseminate it to those that would rather work in the field, to those of us that want to teach in the field.
Okay, very good. Glad to have you on the program this morning. And this is Michael Dawes saying so long for Cougar Pause.